All right, we're going to be doing a teaching this whole week, and I'm excited about that. I'm talking right now while it's building my audience, but I'm doing a teaching this whole week on marriage, guys. I'm excited to bring this to you, and I was contemplating, whether I do this with our conference coming up, but I felt there's no better time than the present than to get on and talk about marriage. This whole week is marriage week. I'm going to be talking about marriages and giving you some principles and precepts on how to have a phenomenal, successful marriage. Even if you're single and you're looking to get married, if you're dating, you're looking to get married, you're going to want to tune into this. So I want to make sure that I get this word out to you, I get this message out to you just about marriage. So we're talking about marriage, and we're going to be talking about the pros and cons. Some of us want to get married, but we're not ready for marriage, and so I will be going over a lot of that. So before we get started, in all of you who are logging on, make sure you let me know what city and state you're logging in from. So I see Fort Lauderdale on here. I see, is that Arcola, Florida? I see Memphis, Tennessee. Good morning, Pamela. Good morning, Tiffany. Good morning, Dinah. Come on, log in and tell me what city you're calling in from. I know that you're at work. Some of y'all are catching this at work while you're at your desk. Some of you are going to be sharing this with your family and friends. And my whole thing is I want to make sure that whatever I do here with you guys, it is being a benefit to you. So I see Houston. Hello, Kelly. I see Houston out there. Mahogany Young out there. I see Gary, Indiana. Hey, Patrice. Always good to see you. Tony. All right. Good to see you. Brandy. Good to see you. All right. Glad that you're on. Glad that you're on. Share this out. Go ahead and click share. Share it out. Let your friends know that Dr. Spill is going to be teaching on marriage all this week. Keisha Kelly, that's my administrative assistant. Tammy, good to see you. Hi, Lori. We're teaching on marriage all this week. Marriage. We're going to be talking about marriage. Now, those of you who are new to follow me, you need to understand that I can be graphic, and I don't hold back. I say what is the truth. I speak the truth based on my perception. My truth may not be your truth, but most of my truth is rooted and grounded in the Word of God, and so we'll be using a lot of the scriptures to talk about marriage and to position people for marriage. I'm going to be answering some hard questions about marriage. I want to be able to take some of your questions here on this news feed as we talk about marriage. So there'll be a time I want you to ask some questions, but right now I want to deal with marriage in its beginning, in its origin. So all week, nothing but marriage. All week, nothing but marriage. You're going to love this. You're going to love this. All week, nothing but marriage. Marriage. I spent the whole week talking to singles. I'm going to spend a whole week talking to married people. And hopefully I get some of you married people to either divorce and find the right one, fight for the one that you got, do what you got to do. So, okay. So today's focus is that my rib. That's today's focus. Today's focus is that my rib. Now, I need everyone to understand this because I really believe this. Marriage is about singleness. The reason why many people don't remain married is because they don't know how to be single. Say it again. The reason why many people don't remain married is because they don't know how to be single. Hello, Detroit. The reason why many people don't remain married is because they don't know how to be single. I ain't married and I ain't sorry. You don't need to be sorry, boo. You don't need to be sorry. That's my baby Jay. Listen. Many people don't know how to be single. I want to talk to all my married people, and I want to tell all my married people, in order for you to remain married, you must be single. In order for you to remain married, hey, y'all, you must be single. Marriage doesn't work unless you have the mindset of single people. Hey, Brandy, good to see you. Marriage doesn't work unless you have the mindset of a single person. And that's why you don't stay married. People get married and don't know how to be single. And because they don't know how to be single, the relationship doesn't work. I was a widow in my marriage. Ann said I was a widow in my marriage. Okay, so listen. So you got to be single. I need all y'all to understand that. That's the first thing I need you to get down. If you're going to be married, you got to know how to be single. Right? You got to know how to be single. So now here's the thing. And I want to do that from a biblical perspective because the Bible says that we were single before we got married, right? And the two become one, which means we become single again. And so I need you to understand that a successful marriage is a successful marriage when the two are acting as one. When the two are acting as one. And I'm going to deal with why two people don't act like one people. I'm going to deal with why two people don't act like one people. When you don't know how to be single, when we is not singular, you're going to have problems. So for all my married people, if we is not singular, if you don't have a singular relationship, you're going to be plural in your vision. And when you are plural in your vision, the marriage won't work because you're both going to be going in a different direction. So let's deal with this. Let's have some fun with this. Let's have some fun with this. Let's have some fun with this. Here's the first error to getting married. Here's the first error to get married. The first error to getting married is when you try to change who you just married. The first error to getting married. Well, I'm getting divorced right now because you're right. You don't know how to be single. Absolutely. 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 All right. Look. And you're going to be okay, Don. You're going to be okay. The first rule of being married is you don't change the person you married when you marry them. You fell in love with them the way they are. Right? And I'm going to say something that y'all may not like this. Marriage oftentimes is acceptance of truth, even though the truth is not something you want to acknowledge. Marriage oftentimes is the acceptance of truth, even if it's truth that you don't want to acknowledge. I need you to hear this. That's why I tell people, don't get married if you're not in love. And many of you are not in love, you're in lust. And so when you marry out of your libido. You don't marry out of love. Those are two different things. Most people marry out of their libido. You marry out of an orgasm, right? You marry because you're lonely, right? You don't marry because you're looking to become single. You're looking to merge and morph into that one person where both you and them, I need you to understand this, where you and them are working together to remain in harmony. So here is God. God says to this man, this alpha male, God says to this alpha male, it's not good for this alpha male to be alone. I'm going to make a helpmeet for him. It is not good for this alpha male to be alone. I'm going to make a helpmeet for him. And so God puts this alpha male to sleep and pulls a rib out of the alpha male. I need everybody to get this. If you are married or you're looking to get married, you need to hear what I'm about to say right now. If you are married and you're looking to get married, listen. Your soulmate comes out of you. Your soulmate comes out of you. What? Your soulmate comes out of you. Where was Eve? Eve was in Adam the whole time. Let's say it again. I need you to get this. Eve was in Adam the whole time. She was in Adam the whole time. The woman was inside of him the whole time. And so while he was looking at these beasts of the field, when God brought these animals to him, while he's looking at these beasts of the field, he names all these beasts. All right, that's a dog, that's a cat, that's a dog, that's a cat, that's a cat, that's a dog, that's a lion, that's a leopard, that's a giraffe. I'm just giving you this. I need you to understand this. I'm just giving you this. He sees all of them, right? Now, while he's looking at them, no mate is found within them because his mate was already living within him. I need y'all to catch this. Your mate is already living within you. Now, I'm speaking clearly on a metaphysical level. Your mate is already living within you. And I'm dealing with this because it's at my rib. Your mate is already living within you. So in other words, you attract what you are. Whoever you are married to right now, you attracted them based on your internal condition. Y'all need to hear me by the Spirit of God. Whoever you're married to right now, you attracted them according to your internal condition. For you only draw to yourself what you are. I've said this before. I'll say it again. Don't complain about the mate you got when the mate you got was really a signal and a sign of what you are on the inside. The mate you have, the person you with, the person you married, the person you gave your life to was a real sign of what you are on the inside. It's a real sign of what you see about yourself, what you feel about yourself, what you understand about yourself. Eve was in the rib. What was Eve? She was in the rib. What was Eve? She was in the rib. She was in his bones. She was in his bones. She was already living inside the marrow of who he was. Oh, I'm teaching good today. She was living inside of the marrow of who she was. And God pulled the bone out. And what did God do? He pulls this bone out. Listen. And he pulls out of the bone. He pulls out of Adam's marrow. an alpha female. He doesn't pull out a weak woman. He pulls out an alpha female. He digs inside. Now, I need you to understand this. Oh, this is going to be good. This is going to be good. I need y'all to hear this. I need y'all to hear this. I need y'all to hear this. I need you to hear this. So God pulls this woman out of him. He pulls this woman out of him. He pulls this woman out of him. He pulls femininity out of this man. He pulls his femininity out of this man. He pulls femininity out of him. And what does he do? And now, this is what you got to understand. Who made Adam? Well, we believe that God made Adam. So then what God did when he gave Adam his bone structure, he constructed his bone structure according to his divinity. He constructed his bone structure according to his divinity. So Adam has divine bones. So I need you to understand. So when God reached in Adam, he pulled out divinity to make another part of divinity. The reason why most marriages don't work out is because you refuse to see the other person as a divine reflection of yourself. The reason why most marriages don't work out is because you refuse to see the other person as a divine reflection of yourself. You chose out of your divine reflection. You chose out of your divine reflection. Or, listen to me, you chose out of your lower reflection. You either chose out of your divine reflection, come on, married people, talk to me, or you chose out of your lower reflection, your lower image. And many people choose out of their lower image. And because they choose out of their lower image, that's how you got that fool, that sorry, throwed off, no good son of a gun. That's why you got that crazy girl. That's why you got that stupid chick. That's why you got that dumb man, because you chose out of your lower self. And when you choose out of your lower self, you will always choose a beast in the field. Many of you are married to beasts in the field because you chose them out of your lower nature. Oh, I'm going to say that again. Many of y'all right now are sleeping with beasts of the field because you chose them out of your lower nature. You chose them out of your inclination and the proclivity for sexual intimacy. You chose them out of your beastly nature. And I got some people on here that has been divorced at least twice because they chose beast of the field. Oh, when you choose somebody out of your lower self, you will choose somebody, top speller, first Holy Ghost clap. When you choose someone out of your lower self, you will always find yourself dealing with animalistic behavior. That's why you can't get that man to be faithful. You married a beast. That's why you can't get that woman to be faithful. You married a beast. That's why that man doesn't have a vision. You married a beast. That's why that woman don't care about your vision. You married a beast. And whenever you marry a beast of the field, they will be more inclined to their beastly nature, which means, and what is a person's beastly nature about? A beastly nature is only about eating, fornicating, and having fun. It is about food, fun, and fornication. Anybody you get one out of your beastly nature, you will find them drawn to food, fun, and fornication. If you're married, it's no longer called fornication. I can't use that F word, but you know what I'm talking about. Food, fun, and fornication. When you select someone out of your lower nature, you start finding out that y'all have nothing in common but sex. Y'all have nothing in common but food. Y'all have nothing in common but fun. You can't even have a mental conversation with them. You can't even speak to them on an intellectual level. You can't even show your strong side. You can't even be the alpha female with them because in their beastly nature, they get intimidated when you step up. Speak, spiller. I'm talking to all my marriage people in here today. And some of you are married right now and you're bitter right now because you chose that fool in your beastly nature. You chose that fool in your beastly nature. And now you're upset. You're upset. You're upset because you chose them out of your beastly nature. And I'm here to tell you. Now, here is what I need you to get. Now, God brought Eve to Adam. Now, I'm going to debunk all of this. He who finds a wife finds a good thing. I'm going to debunk all of that right now. God brings Eve to Adam. Eve wakes Adam up. And Adam acknowledges, this is now bone of my bone. That's what he says. I'm teaching, is this my rib? We're talking to all you marriage people, all the married people out there. Is this my rib? The first thing he says, this is bone of my bone. Pause. He says, this is bone of my bone. He never says, this is skin of my skin. He never says, this is skin of my skin. He says, this is bone of my bone. Adam had sight and vision into her intimate self. Oh, listen to me. Listen, all you married people. This is why marriage don't work. Adam had sight into her inner self. You want to know why marriages stop working? Because you lost sight of their inner self. Holy Ghost clap number 2. I'm on Holy Ghost clap number 2. The reason why marriage stopped working is because they lost sight of your inner self. They begin to de-appreciate your inner self. They lost sight of the treasure and saw your skin. You don't get married for skin. Uh-oh, this is good. You get married for bone. Let me try that again. Oh, man, come on. Y'all know this is good. Y'all know this is good. Y'all know this is good. You never get married for skin. You get married for bone. You never get married for skin. You get married for bone. I want to stay right there for all my married people. You lost sight of the bone and you see the skin, and now there's disrespect. You lost sight of the bone. You see the skin, and now there's disrespect. A man will always disrespect you, ladies, when he see your skin over your bone. A woman will never honor you, man of God, when she see your skin instead of your bone. When she see what's wrong with you, and she loses the fact of your treasure. She loses what you are. She loses how special you are. She loses how unique you are. Then she starts talking to the fool in you instead of the king in you. Anytime a woman talks to the fool in you, it's because she see your skin. And what she got to do, and what you got to help her do, is you got to help her understand, you didn't marry me for my skin, you married me for my bone. I need y'all to catch this, because the bone speaks to the inner man. The bone speaks to the inner man. The bone is underneath the muscle, the tissues, the veins. The bone is underneath the skin. I need you to understand, you're supposed to get married for their deeper self. You get married for their deeper self. You don't get married for surface. That's why you can divorce so fast. You divorce so fast because you married surface. You divorce so fast because they were well endowed. You divorce so fast because she gave you fellatio like nobody else gave you fellatio. You divorce so fast because, watch this now, they had money. You divorce so fast because he had a career. You divorce so fast because they had a house. But you never looked at their bone. You never looked at the inner man to see if their inner man can handle your outer man. Third, Holy Ghost clap. You always marry for seeing if their inner man can handle your outer man, because the outer man is what they're going to deal with for the rest of their life. I teach this to married people around the world. I teach this to married people around the world, and I'm hoping you're hearing me right now. I'm hoping you're hearing me right now. As I teach this to married people around the world, I tell them all the time, marriage is not for children. Marriage is not for children. We need to put a warning label on it and say, keep out of the hands of children. Why? Because when children get married, they throw temper tantrums when they do not get from the person what they want. You don't marry because you get from the person what they want. You marry because you get from the person what you need. And there are some women out there that God gave you because she provokes you. Don't nobody piss you off like she does. Don't nobody make you mad like she does. Don't nobody get under your skin like she does. And when she gets under your skin, come on, tell the truth, brother. She makes you move. She makes you do things that you would normally do. Come on, ladies, I need you to catch this. That's the fourth Holy Ghost clap. You better catch this now. God sometimes will give you somebody that gets underneath your skin. And they get underneath your skin to make you better. They get underneath your skin to make you stronger. They get underneath your skin to pull the best out of you. And you never marry somebody that doesn't tap into the greater person of who you are. You don't marry them. You don't give them your all. You don't give them your best. And you definitely don't give them your heart. You marry somebody that provokes you to greatness. You marry somebody that comes in and says, listen, before we get married, let's build your credit. Before we get married, let's build your business. Before we get married, I want you to have yourself together. And I have discovered that most people don't want that kind of rib. You don't want the rib, watch this now, that God wants to give you. When Eve came to him, she woke him up. When she woke him up, the first thing he said was, this is bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. He saw flesh second and bone first. I need you to understand that there is a dimension of you that has to be discovered. And when you're with someone and you're married to them and they lose sight of who you are, they're going to hurt you. I'll tell you why a man cheats. I'll tell you why a woman cheats. They cheat because they lost sight of who you are. And they rediscovered, oh, you're not going to like this, you in somebody else. See, they rediscovered you in somebody else. Not you, the false image that they had of you. They discovered it in somebody else. I teach on this. And I teach on this a lot to married people, especially when I'm dealing with couples who want to get through cheating. If you deal with a mate who's cheating, right? And I talked to them about cheating, and I said, listen, there are several reasons why men cheat. There's several reasons why women cheat, but we'll deal with the basics. One of the main reasons why men cheat is because, listen, they cheat because they no longer value you. Or most of y'all don't want to hear that right now. I can feel in the Holy Ghost. You almost spit up your water at your cubicle. They no longer value you. That's why men cheat. They lost sight of your value. And then they've taken the value they used to give you and placed that value on somebody else. But the problem is the value was always fictitious. It was always false. It was always fake, right? So when he takes that value and he puts it on someone else, watch this. The value that he thought he was getting from you, he now looks to see to get that value from somebody else. Oh, you understand what I'm saying? Right? But it really wasn't value that he had in you. He was only in love with your appearance. He was never in love with you. He was only in love with your appearance. He was never in love with you. And so when he values your appearance, he finds another appearance that looks like yours, and he screws her. Wow. That was good, Dr. Spiller. He never valued your bone. He valued your appearance. And when a man values a woman's appearance, he will always find that appearance in another woman. And so he goes and screws them. Right? The same with women. When she loses sight of your value, she will cheat on you. She will cheat on you. But her value was never in your bone. Her value was in your flesh. And you can always find another person in the flesh. You can always find other. I get this from women all the time. I get this from men all the time. Why did they cheat? Because they were never in love with you. They were in love with an appearance. They were in love with an image. And what they were able to do was project that image on somebody else. And when they're able to project that image on somebody else, they can easily sleep with them. They can easily have sex with them because it was your skin that they were in love with. But when they're in love with your bone, when they love with your bone, they will find out that they can't find that rib in another person. When they're in love with your bone, they're in love with your DNA. And when they're in love with your DNA, they can't find that DNA in another person. What you got to have, listen, my married people, I'm talking to all my married people, get back to understanding what is their bone. And here's the thing, because I'm going to throw this out for free. God didn't join all y'all relationships together. That's why they're not working. God brought Eve to Adam. He who finds a wife finds a good thing. Well, Eve found him. He didn't find her. Eve found him. He didn't find her. He who finds a wife finds a good thing. Eve found him. I got to bring this to a close. Eve found him. He didn't find her. So all this women, no. And you got to find in that person. You got to find in that person the bone that matches who you are. And I need you to catch this. Some of your marriages, God didn't join together. This is why day one was going to be hard. Some of your marriages, God didn't join together. You put that thing together. That ain't even your rib that you with. That's your foot. That's why, that's not your rib, that's your foot. That's why he walking on you. That's not your rib, that's your foot. That's why she walking on you. Oh, y'all not hearing me? That's not your rib, that's your hand. That's why he beating you up. That's not your rib, that's your hand. That's why she disrespecting you. See, when you find a rib, you find someone that's associated with your heart. That's associated with your heart. And many of you didn't marry your heart. You married your foot. You married your hand. You married your eyes because you didn't have your internal self together. And because your internal self was not together, when your internal self was not together, you married the wrong person. And that's why you can take them to church. You can pray, prophesy, rub them with oil. That fool is still a fool because that was not who God wanted you to marry. You married them. God didn't bring y'all together. God didn't bring you together. God did not bring you together. You married them. God didn't orchestrate that. That's why he cheating on you. That's why she cheating on you. God didn't orchestrate that. That's why he beating the hell out of you. That's why she talking to you crazy. That's why you don't feel like a king. God didn't orchestrate that. When God brings it together, they will be someone knitted out of your own bone. There will be someone who protects your heart. Your rib protects your heart. Be someone that protects your heart, protects your dream, protects your vision, protects who you are. Damn it, just protects you. That's your rib. That's your rib. Is that my rib? It's your rib when they protect you, your vision, your family, your house, your dreams, your ambitions, your goal. That's your rib. Somebody asks, how do you find it? How do you find it? How do you find it? It takes time. It takes time. And that's what you think you don't have a lot of. You think you don't have a lot of time, so you're rushing. It takes time. And I'm talking to some married people right now. You ready to quit. You ready to throw in the towel. You ready to walk away. And the only reason you're willing to do that is because you refuse to look at their bone. You won't even acknowledge how good they are. You don't acknowledge that she stayed with you through the thick and thin. You won't even acknowledge that he put up with your crazy ways. You won't even acknowledge that he walked with you while you were on drugs. You won't even acknowledge that she stayed with you when you lost your job. You won't even acknowledge that she was right there with you when nobody else wanted you. She helped you get in school. He helped you get in school. He helped you get through school. You got your degree with him. You got your job through him. You got your business with them. You built a house with them. You had kids with them. How in the hell do you walk away from somebody that was there with you when you didn't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of? That's because you didn't marry your rib and you refuse to see the inside of who they are. Because you refuse to see the inside of who they are, that's how you can easily walk away and think you're going to find something else. But the devil is a lie. You ain't going to find nobody else that's going to put up with your trifling behind the way he been putting up with you, the way she been putting up with you. You're not going to find them. They not out there. A real heart doesn't reduplicate just that fast. And that's why you got to make sure. And this whole week we're talking about marriage. You got to make sure that you're starting to look at their bone and not their flesh. Look at their bone and not their flesh. There's some divorced people on here right now. They can tell you. Still ain't lying. I married my foot. That joker kept his foot on me. I married my hand. He kept beating me. And all you married was the inner image of yourself. He could only hit you because you were hitting yourself before he got with you. She could only cheat on you because you were cheating on yourself before you got with her. You only attracted what was on the inside. But what do I do about this, Billy? Do I try to fix it? Is it worth fixing? I say this all the time. I say this to married people. There's some pastors who would just definitely not agree with me. I could definitely care less. Is it worth fixing? Is it worth fixing? If it's not, then stop. Stop. It's not worth fixing. Jeffrey said, I married my mouth. If it's not worth fixing, then what are you doing? He don't want you no more. Come on, boo. Get over it. I'm still praying for my marriage. He over there screwing somebody else. He don't want you no more. Stop lying to yourself. He don't want you no more. I'm praying him to come back home. Oh, the Lord gonna bring him home with HIV. And the Lord didn't bring him home. She put him out the house. Same man of God. She left me when I lost my job. She was already gone while you had your job. She was just looking for an excuse to leave. Is it worth fixing it? Only you can make that decision, and both you and your husband need to sit down and ask yourself, is it worth fixing? Can we fix this? Can we fix this? Can we fix this? I lost sight of who you are. That's why I disrespect you. That's why I talk to you crazy. I lost sight of who you are. Can we fix this? Yes. All you got to do is restore your image. If you restore your image and she restores her image, if you restore your image, you can fix it. It's fixable if you're willing to restore the image. But if they're not going to restore the image, then what the world are you doing? Come on. You can fix it. It can work if you want it to. But if they don't want it to work, I'm tired of hearing So many women come in, I'm praying for him to come home, Pastor. I'm praying for him to come home. Girl, he out there screwing somebody else. I'm not going to stand in agreement with you on that. I'm not. I'm not going to stand in agreement. He's screwing somebody else. He's living with her. He had a child with her, and you still praying for him to come home. I'm not standing in agreement with you on that. No, I think you're better than that. I think you're a treasure. I think you're just so low. I think he just beat you so low. I think he just verbally abused you so much that you think you got to sit up there and deal with a dog. No. 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 I'm not going to agree. And some of y'all need to stop false agreeing with some of your friends. You're going to stand and wait for him to come back. He ain't coming back. When it's your rib can't leave. Boy, bye. When it's your rib can't leave. All right, I must pause right there. Was that good? This is day one. Wait, this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. How did y'all feel about this? Was this okay? Let's see what some people are saying. Does this apply to your family members in the relationship? Yes, it does. If the good outweigh the bad, then pray about it. Vice versa. Let go. Absolutely, I agree. I really wish other preachers would talk like this. I wish they would too. I'm too high. I'm too single. I'm valuable. Yes, you are. Boy, you keep it real. I'm trying to keep it real, Deb. Thank you, sweetie. Appreciate it. I believe my spouse is demon possessed. And that could very well be true. Can you cast it out? Now, that's the question. The question is, can you cast it out? If you can't cast it out, then why are you still there? Because that demon, it can come out of him. But if you want that devil to come back, he coming back. So you're going to spend all your time casting. Casting and he not catching. Casting and he not catching. He not catching the vision. You got to find out if this is what you want to do. He could be. Do you speak to singles? Man, we did a whole series on singles. You got to get, I'll put the YouTube link on here. A whole single on series. You got to catch that single on series. It's phenomenal. You speaking to me, my God. Let's see. Awesome, my God. I'm sharing this. Great. Y'all need to start sharing this. Come on, start sharing this. I'm just looking to see if there are any questions that I can get to. How do we submit questions? You submit them right here. Submit them right here on the feed, and I'll try to get to your questions real quick. I'll take like 2 or 3 questions real quick from some of our married people. If you want to put a question in, go ahead and put the question in right there. In the news feed, in the line right here. Put the question in the news line right here. You can also inbox me the question. I'll try to answer it on the next broadcast on Tuesday. Now listen, guys, my inbox is inundated. It is so full. So I want to make sure that I try to get to everybody. So I want to say, I'm single but growing toward marriage. This word was for us. Great. He don't want it. He don't want it out. Yeah, you don't want it out. I'm saying, all right. I've been married, but this is helping me. Great. Men, speak so true. Real talk, Pastor. God bless you, Melissa. Thank you. Transgender. God bless you, Jasleen Webb. God bless you. Jeffrey, it's true. It's a true rib out there for me. Absolutely, it's a true rib. Sharon, you're still love. Tell her, Brother Lloyd. Appreciate that. Check it out. Mentally and physically moved, September 15th. So I think I have a question here from Janet. Let's see. So if you were a rib to someone and he died, can you be a rib to someone else? Absolutely. There are bone marrow transplants all the time. Even on a scientific level, there are bone marrow transplants, right? So you can transfer bone marrow between one host and another host. So if there can be a bone marrow transplant, then your heart can be transplanted to another. So absolutely. If you choose, it's something that you choose. Please put up the single link. All right, I'll do that. I was just speaking to my sister and her husband about this weekend. They're at Crossroads right now. They don't have to be at the Crossroads. Can a woman have the rib of a younger man? Absolutely, evangelist. I prefer older women with younger men. I do. This is not of the Lord. This is me. Because I'll tell an older woman in a minute, get with a young man. I'll tell an older woman in a minute, get with a young man. That's just my perception. Just my perception. You have to deal with less peels and stuff like that. Your rib don't leave, absolutely. Let's see any other questions. Where do you start for healing for my separation? Apostle, one day at a time. Especially when you've given your heart to someone that doesn't deserve it, one day at a time. There's a ripping and a tearing that takes place in the separation that I wish on no one. One of the hardest things to deal with is the ripping and the tearing that comes in from a separation. You're tearing on a mental level, a physical level, emotional level, a sexual level, a sensual level. And as that ripping and that tearing is taking place, it takes time to heal. Now, I always tell people that when you're going through separation, heal. Now, don't heal through sex with someone else and heal by going out and dating. Heal. Heal from that tear. It takes time. How do I start to love myself? You start to love yourself, Saran, that's a good question. You start to love yourself. How do you? the question that you should really ask yourself, Saran, is on how you start loving yourself. What values do you bring to the table? What makes you special? What makes you unique? What do people compliment you on? What do you love to do? How do you help people? Those are your values. You start loving yourself by your values, and you allow those values that you love about yourself to start generating who you pick and choose as it pertains to who you're going to be in a relationship with. But you got to love yourself first. You got to love what you bring to the table first. If you love that enough, then you won't step down in your choice for who you're choosing. All right? Not married. I keep getting only those look at my flesh. What do I do? Baby, let me say this. I was watching a female dog walk down the street, and she was in heat. She was in heat. But this had to have been a different type of female dog, because when she was in heat, she was walking down the street. It was a trail of masculine dogs following her. And each one tried to jump on her to hump her, right? But she obviously wasn't in the mood. So every time one tried to jump on her to hump her, she bit him. I mean, I'm not talking about bit him. I'm talking about she got in him. She bit him. She said, just because I'm in the heat don't mean you can hump me. This is a parable from a female dog. So just because I'm in heat don't mean you can hump me. Just because I'm showing you signs of that I'm sexy, and I'm showing you signs that I'm open and available, don't mean you can hump me. You got to be able to bite the men that only see your flesh. You got to be able to kick some people off of you that only see your flesh. And you got to wait for the right one. Just because there's a pack of dogs following you, it does not mean, watch this now, that in that pack of dogs, there's the right one for you. You got to be able to make sure that you know that just because I'm humpable, just because I'm sexual, just because I'm sensual, that's not what I'm looking for in this season. And the only reason y'all follow me is because I have something that you want, and it's on a sensual and sexual level, but that's not the season I'm in right now. Pray that y'all receive that. What do you do when the love is gone, but you're still hanging on? If the love is gone and you're still hanging on, then you're not hanging on in wisdom. You're only hanging on out of comfort, and you're afraid of being alone. That's why you're hanging on. You're hanging on because you're scared. You're scared of starting over. So you'd rather be with somebody than to be with nobody. Even if the somebody you with you don't love nor like. You're just hanging on. They're just breath and britches, right? Even the sex ain't even that good. You have to work yourself up to even get sexual and sensual, even with it. You're scared. That's why you're still there. Come out of that fear. Let's see it in others. Does your rib have to be called to ministry because you're in ministry? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Preferably, in some cases, some people don't even want people in ministry with them when they're in ministry, a preacher or pastor or something like that. Absolutely not. And don't listen. Let me give you a word of wisdom, and I'll probably deal with this a little bit later this week. Don't try to pull them into ministry either. One of the worst things I did was try to make my wife a pastor, and she was never called to be a pastor. Now my wife's not the pastor. She's not co-pastor with me. Things I did was attempt to make her a pastor. I tried to make my wife a pastor, and as I attempted to make her a pastor, that wasn't what she was. I tried to force ministry on her instead of just letting her be my wife. That was one of the hurdles that we had to go through. I can't wait to talk about that this week. But no, never force them to do something they're not called to do just because you're in it. You lose them like that. And you don't want to lose people like that. Let's see. How to mend a heart. Time. It takes time to mend it. Let's see. I'm going to take one more question. Tell me. All right. One more question. All right. Here's the last question from Angela. What if a woman has sexual abuse in her past and it attributes to their cheating? What if a woman has sexual abuse in their past and attributes to their cheating? I understand that. I've seen that in situations where a woman has been sexually abused and she's not sensual nor sexual because she's been abused. And what they typically do is it pushes the man away. And I've had to counsel people in that particular area when she's been sexually abused, or even sometimes may not realize this, but even men have been sexually abused and they're not sensual sexual creatures. How do you deal with that sensuality and that sexuality when it's void because of abuse? That's one of the most powerful questions. I'm doing an episode this week on calls. It's going to be called Sex Bedroom Undefiled. You got to tune in for that one. This week I'm doing a live Facebook on Sex Undefiled, and I'm going to be talking about what do you do when you have a person who's been sexually abused, and how, because sex is really, I don't care what you mean. People don't think sex is an important part of a relationship, but it is. And sex is not always putting the penis in the vagina. That's not always sex. Because some people can even do that, and their sex is not intercourse as you think. That's not their sex, because there are some people who are married and the husband cannot perform. I mean, with no type of, but they're in love because their sex is not sex. There's another level of sex, and I can't wait to talk to you about that, bedroom undefiled. Make sure you stick around for that this week when we talk about bedroom undefiled. It's going to blow your mind when we deal with bedroom undefiled. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit this week, but I will say this about women who've been sexually abused, men who've been sexually abused, and it's affecting the marriage. Listen to me, and this is very important. This is very important. Very important. It takes time. If he's not willing to understand, or she's willing to understand, if they're not willing to understand what you went through. Now, listen, you got to be healed, and you got to let them heal you. You have to let them heal you from the sexual scars that you got from molestation. And there is a healing process to that. There's a sensual process to that. That's why you can't go in sex. I can't wait to talk about this week. That's why some of you, when you have a person that's been abused, foreplay is so important. Anybody who's been sexually abused, foreplay is extremely important to bring them out of the hurt that they've experienced as a result of them being sexually abused. So we're going to talk about that foreplay. We're going to talk about why foreplay is important for someone who's been sexually abused, because you got to heal them from that scar. And foreplay heals them from that scar. Foreplay will heal a person from a sexual abusive scar that's on them. And so we're going to talk about that this week. So I'll get to that this week. Let's see. How do you help a woman that has decided to continue to date the same man? We both date at the same time. I don't really get that one. How do you help the woman that has decided, to continue to date the same man? We both dated at the same time. I don't understand that one. I'm sorry. Inbox me that, Miss Lee. Inbox me that. Let's have a private conversation with that. Inbox me that, and I'll try to get to that. Well, listen, guys, that's my time. I want you to do me a favor. We're over 300 people live today. I need you to do me a favor. I charge you to share this. Not only do I charge you to share it, I'm asking you, do this for me. Tag married people in this video. Not only am I asking you to share it, please help me save a marriage or deliver someone from a destructive marriage. Tag them in this video. Share this video and tag them in it. If this has been a blessing to you, let's get the word out. Let's help people. Let's save some marriages. Let's position some people to experience their best life now. There are over 232 people on here. If this has been a blessing to you, share it. Share it. 239, share it. Tag people in it. Say, man, you got to hear what Dr. Spiller said. This is going to be the most powerful week on Facebook Live that we've ever had as we talk about marriage to bring some healing to some relationships. I'm going to keep it real. Hopefully you allow me to. I bless you and speak love over your life and decree and declare that you are God's chosen, you're God's elect, and what God has for you is for you. Find the rib, for there is somebody out there that will love you past your flesh. God bless you.